Assalamu alaikum, dear parents. We are continuing lessons dedicated to nurturing children. And today we will talk about 6 important steps in raising righteous children. Step 1. Building a harmonious family for raising righteous children. I've already spoken about the duty of a Muslim to save not only themselves but also their families from the fire of hell. A peaceful and happy family can only exist when both husband and wife think alike, sharing common values and understanding. Primarily, mothers play a major role in the upbringing of children. A mother in Islam is a righteous wife. She obeys her husband, raises her children as a Muslim, lives according to Sharia, and keeps the house clean and pure. She is not merely a wife, she is a companion, a true friend. Imagine what could happen to a family if the husband and wife don't share the same values. Could there be peace in such family? No. A wife in Islam is not a servant whose role is to manage the household. She is a companion, a support, and a life partner. However, sisters, we must understand that if we are focused only on worldly matters, such as constantly thinking about fashion or spending all our wealth on unnecessary things, a husband may quickly lose interest. A woman should strengthen her faith, improve her skills, and seek knowledge for Allah's pleasure. Before we raise our children, we must first examine our behavior and upbringing. The bond between husband and wife will be strengthened when they know their Lord. It's a misunderstanding to think that happiness only exists in the wealthy families free from problems and worries. This is not true, because worldly possessions do not bring lasting joy. No matter how beautiful or luxurious something is, over time it loses its charm and ceases to bring happiness. However, if the family lives by the Creator's laws, who loves and fears His displeasure, happiness will remain with His family eternally. We have not yet touched upon the subject of raising children. Why? Because at first, we have to build up harmony in our family. A family must be built for the sake of pleasing Allah in Islam. A wife who knows His Creator understands that pleasing her husband is a way to attain Allah's pleasure. Similarly, a husband who knows Allah understands that his wife and children are entrusted to him, and he must be just to them, knowing that he will be held accountable before the Almighty. Such a man will also be a source of support and strength for his wife. When the husband serves his wife out of fear of Allah's displeasure, and the wife serves her husband out of fear of Allah's displeasure, this is a happy family, a blessed couple. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said, "Each of you is a shepherd, and each of you is responsible for his flock. The ruler is a shepherd and is responsible for his subjects. The husband is a shepherd in his family and is responsible for his family. The wife is a shepherd in her husband's home and is responsible for the home. The servant is a shepherd over his master's wealth and is responsible for it. Each of you is a shepherd, and each of you is responsible for his flock." This saying emphasized the concept of responsibility and leadership, with the metaphor of shepherd representing someone who guides, protects, and cares for others. In this analogy, each person, like a shepherd, has a flock, a group or domain for which they are responsible. Here is a breakdown of its meaning. First, each of you is a shepherd and each of you is responsible for his flock. It means everyone, regardless of their role in life, has a responsibility towards those under their care or supervision. These can refer to people, tasks, or resources. A husband must care for and support his family, ensuring their physical, emotional, and spiritual well-being. Similarly, a wife plays a vital role in maintaining the household, contributing to the family's harmony and nurturing the home environment. The metaphor encourages mindfulness, care, and accountability in all aspects of life. Step 2. Raising children with love for the Prophet and the Quran. Let us return to the topic of parents. The Prophet ﷺ said to teach your children 3 things: to love the Prophet, to love the Prophet's family, and to love reciting the Quran. Be kind to your children and raise them in the best way. Who does a person love? someone they know. How well do our children know the Prophet? If they do not know the Prophet, it would be unreasonable to expect our kids to love him. Begin with small steps. Introduce them to his character, his actions, and how he interacted with children. It's unfortunate that in today's world, our children are being taught by bloggers. They know everything about these bloggers, what they eat, what color they like. But how much do they know about our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam? Who are the role models for our children? Who are their heroes? Unfortunately, many of us don't pay attention to the fact that our children idolize people who are disconnected from Islamic values. Some are involved in immoral behavior, yet they are admired merely for their fame or talent. This is a tragedy. Remember, for a man, the most important thing in life is not building a house, not traveling, not providing fancy clothes or giving charity, but raising children, and this is the most challenging part. The Prophet ﷺ emphasized, the upbringing of a child is more important than the daily giving of charity. Try to engage your family in meaningful conversations, perhaps at dinner, when the whole family gathers. Share a small story about Umar ibn al-Khattab or Ali, may Allah be pleased with them. Watch a film about the companions, Sahabs, of the Prophet. Discuss their virtue and their love for the Prophet ﷺ. A home where the Quran is recited, where the 5 daily prayers are performed, where there are no arguments over wealth and no gossip. This is a heavenly home. On the other hand, a house with Quranic verses framed on the walls, but where music is played, or alcohol is consumed, or the family members are isolated from one another, is a home of despair, without blessings or harmony. Sadly, no one wants to admit that their home is like this. You have the power to change this. Before a meal, remember Allah. While dressing, remember Allah. When seeking knowledge, start with the remembrance of Allah. Before sleeping, remember Allah. We cannot stop the great calamity, crisis, or oppressions of Muslims across the world, but by raising our children in the faith, we will contribute greatly to preventing future suffering. The enemies of Islam know that if Muslims awaken and unite, they will become invincible. Therefore, their goal is to distract and weaken us, making us forget who we are and what we are capable of achieving. No one wants to be remembered as someone who lived and was quickly forgotten. Raise your children well, for we will be held accountable for the wealth we leave behind. The most noble wealth is not a child who earns a lot of money, or one who gives their parents a house or a vacation, but the one with a noble character and an honest name who does everything for the sake of pleasing Allah. This child, whilst giving charity, reciting the Quran, praying, or raising their children in their religion just as you did, will remember you and make dua for you. For every action, you will receive rewards even after death. This child continues the work of their parents, meaning you are still alive. Let's look at some historical examples of young people whose character astonishes even today's wisest minds. Once a group of people came to visit Caliph Abdul Malik ibn Marwan, and among them was a young boy. When the Caliph saw this minor in his gathering, he chastised his vizier for allowing such a child to enter. But the boy, hearing these remarks, stood up and said, "O Amir, your position and honor will not be diminished by my presence before you, but for me it's a great honor to sing in your company. In our land difficulties have arisen, and the people are suffering from hunger. You have provisions in surplus. If they belong to Allah, then divide them among those in need, and if they are yours, then offer them as charity." The Caliph, astonished by the speech and courage of the boy, and said, "You have left us no choice but to fulfill your request." So if the Caliph had said the provisions belonged to Allah, he would have been obliged to give them to the people, and if he claimed them as his own, he still would have had to divide them as charity. The wisdom and foresight of the boy were prepared for every outcome. Despite his youth, he showed great courage and resolved a matter of tremendous significance. Such bravery and wisdom in a child cannot be bought with any wealth. When Umar ibn Abdulaziz became caliph, many envoys came from various lands to congratulate him. Among them was a delegation from Hijaz, led by a boy no older than 10. One by one, the groups presented their greetings, and when it was the Hijaz delegation's turn, the boy stood up. The Caliph, however, instructed him to sit, saying, "There are those older than you here, let them speak." The Caliph underestimated the boy, thinking him too young to possess wisdom. But what did the boy do? Did he sit and lament? No, for the boy had been chosen to lead his people, proving his worth. He addressed the Caliph, saying, "O Amir al-Mu'mineen, may Allah guide you on the straight path. A person is measured by two things, their soul and the speech. If matters were decided by age, then those older than you would be ruling from the place you now sit upon." Let us take a lesson from this. The Caliph was among the most just and righteous rulers, yet the boy was unafraid. With the highest respect, he conveyed that the value of a person lies not on their age but in the purity of their soul and the truth of their speech. Truly, a soul that knows Allah speaks only the truth. Step 3. Uncovering hidden potential. This brings us to a vital point, dear parents. If your child does not excel in mathematics or another subject, do not be quick to break their spirit. They are like an unpolished diamond, waiting to be uncovered and refined. All they need is your careful guidance. Support your child's interests, be patient, and never call them untalented. Reflect on the examples of great figures like Isaac Newton, who was once considered a poor student, Albert Einstein, who did not learn to read until the age of 7 and was expelled from school for underachievement, and Beethoven, the musical genius, who struggled with basic spelling and mathematics. Even Anton Chekhov, the famous writer, had to repeat grades due to poor performance in various subjects. So do not lose hope. Allah will provide for them, and your role is to nurture them in both secular and religious knowledge. Step 4. Prioritizing family over work. Now consider this. Who is the most unfortunate one? Is the one who brings all their work burdens home. When was the last time you set aside your work and spent time with your family, free from distractions? Imagine returning home and announcing, "Everyone, get ready, we are going for a walk." The greatest joy will not just be for your family, but for you as well. Your children will remember such moments for the rest of their lives. Our beloved Prophet ﷺ, who had the greatest responsibilities, took time in the evenings to play with grandchildren and engage with them. There is a well-known hadith in which the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ remained in sujud, prostration, because his grandson Hussein climbed onto his back. The Prophet stayed in this position until Hussein got down, so as not to disturb him. Look at the patience and compassion the Prophet ﷺ showed even during prayer. And now, how patient are we with our children? Step 5. Be just, learning from the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ's love for family. If a family is raised in the light of faith, they will be steadfast in the face of any trials and will navigate them with dignity and honor. A father, as the head of the family, must be just to all his children. The Prophet ﷺ said, "Fear Allah and be just to your children." This justice applies even in small matters, and kisses, and hugs, and in the way you smile at them. Yes, you may have a special affection for one of your children, and this is not sinful. But if you express this love openly to detriment of the others, it becomes sinful. By favoring one, you may break the heart of another, and they will carry that wound for life. Such actions can lead to deep resentment and affect a child's future. In our noble tradition, a father is regarded as the most respected and honored person in the family. Yet, not all children love their fathers, for not every father earns his place in the hearts of these. Let the father who neglected his child not complain in his old age if that child forgets him. Step 6. Focusing on present needs over past comparisons. And dear parents, do not compare your time with the present. Do not say, in our day, we did this and that. Your time has passed. Now focus on providing your children with the education and tools they need for this era. May Allah guide us all to be fair, patient, and loving to our children. And may Allah grant us the wisdom to raise them in both worldly knowledge and the knowledge of our deen. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.